Hello, everyone. Thanks so much for joining me here today as we get to talk about one of my favorite subjects, comic books. My name is Jose. I love comic books. I love talking about them, and I love sharing them with you. Feel free to follow me on social media if you would like. Links are in the description below. I've also posted a link to the Marvel fan site that'll have plot synopsis and character bios for these issues. We're continuing our run of Sal Buscema or Buscema. I don't know. There's only one E, so I think it's Buscema. On Spectacular Spider-Man, and we are going to be looking at Spectacular Spider-Man 144 and 145 from 1988. I have a Spider-Man playlist. Feel free to check it out. I cover different eras of Spider-Man. And I did two videos when Sal died, and people really seemed to enjoy them and asked me to do some more. So I decided I would add Spectacular Spider-Man to the rotation. I don't know how long I will go, but um, I do know for sure that there's still on Amazing Spider-Man. I'm covering Eric Larson's. I just started that. I've already covered McFarlane's run, so quite a few different eras of Spider-Man with different artists and stuff. So Buscema really was on Spectacular Spider-Man for a very long time. So um, and during this time, Todd McFarlane was getting warmed up in Amazing Spider-Man, and we'll talk about that in a bit here. And Ill Wind is the title of this particular story. We got a gentleman talking about Yacht Club. Gerry Conway provides the script, and Sal Buscema provides the art here. Jim Salicrup and Tom DeFalco do the editorial. And so they're recounting, and this guy's like, "Oh, money's nothing. Look at this. Wealth is unimportant to me." And I love it when rich people say that because, yeah. And so during this time, so they are doing Spider-Man, or Peter Parker is doing his webs, his book that he on Amazing Spider-Man, and it's a book based on his pictures. And so he's going around the country doing a book tour. And so you can see here the cameras on this guy, and he's talking about the yacht club. So, all right, he's talking about this guy that is his number one rival here. And so, um, there, there's a lot of just talking back and forth, and Peter's kind of being a little rude here. And so he shows his book, and suddenly the Boomerang, who we saw on the cover, throws his boomerang at the TV, and he's like, "I hate Spider-Man." And he's like, "Last time we met, he left me trussed like a pig. If my mates in the Sinister Syndicate hadn't set me loose, I'd be in prison by now." That was in Amazing Spider-Man 281. And so this guy here wants to hire him for a hit here, and here is a the yacht club, and he is like, "Hey, this is what we want you to do." So we'll see here in a bit. And so Peter's coming out of the studio here, and this guy's like, "Hey, you've got to maintain self-control when dealing with the media." So, and look, she's looking up. And so we see this guy being all nice and genuine here and leaving in his expensive car. Look at that cough. And so, all right, so they're in San Diego, of course. Here he's talking to Mary Jane, um, and he misses her and he misses his home, and then he's like, sees the Spider-Man suit, and he says he misses this. Now, this is the part I want to talk about Todd McFarlane for a moment. So during this era, Todd McFarlane is really starting to make an impression. This is probably during 309 and 310 of Amazing Spider-Man. And Sal Buscema decided, I'm not gonna try to draw like Todd McFarlane. I'm just gonna draw like me, and that is in a way really really cool. Um, back then I didn't think it was cool, but now looking back, I just think that the shadow of Todd in Amazing Spider-Man definitely was causing people to change how they drew. And Sal's like, I'm not changing how I draw. Man, I'm too old for this. So, all right. So here we go. Still thinking about Mary Jane. Suddenly there's an explosion. He's going to go check it out. And he sees in there, and that is what they wanted the Boomerang to do. And of course, he's listening, and this Boomerang is in there, and of course, he thinks of who it could be. His spider sense goes off when he sees this, and he's gonna go see it, and it turns out it is Boomerang. So we're gonna have a little superhero supervillain fight here. A lot of the words kind of just explain a lot of stuff that's already happening. And so here comes the police. They want to arrest him for arson. Spider-Man, of course, gets away. So he thinks, you know what, I'm gonna go back to New York tomorrow and let the police handle uh, uh, Boomerang. By the way, this was where that guy that he the ship, the guy that was talking about yachts, that's the ship that was attacked. So that is my fault. I should have explained that. So, all right. Anyway, Spider-Man says here, "Oh, I don't even like the guy, so why should I butt in?" So back in New York, Robbie is coming back from the hospital after the stuff with Tombstone, and he's back in there, and suddenly these guys come in, and they're federal marshals, and he's under arrest because he had not said about the murder for hire about 20 years, and the grand jury indicted him for obstruction of justice and being accessory after the fact. So they are arresting Robbie here. Okay, back in San Diego, Peter is signing these books, going on a break here, and he says, "Hey, just hold it for a bit here." And so they're going into the marina here, and he's trying to figure out why Boomerang was attacking him, and then suddenly his big rival comes through. He's Australian. And of course, Peter's like, Boomerang's Australian. And suddenly, Boomerang does show up here. And he's attacking Baxter here, who, and Boomerang throws his thing, has a sonic, and hits the guy right in the throat, killing him. Of course, Baxter takes it back. He's like, "Oh no, poor Artie." And Peter thought Baxter had set the whole thing up, and now he's like, "Well, then who the heck hired Boomerang?" So Spider-Man's gonna go after him, and we're gonna have another supervillain superhero fight. Boomerang doesn't like him very much, so um, they continue fighting. He falls, and Boomerang gets away. Baxter gives a statement, and Peter's like, "But who the heck did this?" And they're like, "Do you have any comments?" And he's like, "The guy that was killed, we were brothers at sea, and I miss him terribly." And so we go through, and we see here that Baxter really was the guy. He's paying $300,000 to Boomerang, and he now wants him to deal with Spider-Man, and of course he says, "Oh, no problem. I'll deal with him for free." And so we go to 145 here, and I have every single one of these issues, and I do not have them bag or boarded. They are still in the way I had these books from back in the day. And so Peter wakes up and he realizes that Baxter said, I don't I really don't know how. It's just it writers sometimes they just have to get things moving. There's no really rhyme or reason. I love it. He's wearing BVDs. And he knows Baxter killed that guy. The Boomerang Returns is the title, same creative team. And he's gonna go see what uh he's gonna go investigate, and he we're gonna get a recap here of the previous issue. And so here we go. And so he's gonna go look to see what is going on. So he breaks through the yacht club and decides to go look underneath. And he says, "Huh, this doesn't look right." And sees this panel. Suddenly, his spider sense goes off, and here comes Boomerang. And it's one of those trick boomerangs, so it comes with some gas, knocking out Spider-Man. And he could let him drown. He's but obviously you can't do that. So here we go. All right, we get one interlude, and one of the Kingpin's men is dead, and wolves bite back. And now, who do we think it is? Well, we've already met the Lobo brothers in our previous volume. So they're going to strike back at the Kingpin. And so interlude 2 at the Bedford Towers. So this kind of is running simultaneously, different stories at different parts. So she's still at the they're still at the Bedford Towers, so they haven't been evicted yet. And as they're running through, you see this kid, and that's her cousin Christy. So the two of them, and she's like, "Hey, we're gonna stay here. I'm gonna stay here till Easter." And so now the interlude 3, and we see Robbie coming out of the federal court, and Robbie decides he's gonna turn himself in. He's not gonna fight it, and of course everyone is advising against it. His son Jonah and his lawyer, but Robbie is like, they're like, don't say you're guilty, and he's like, "No, it's my decision." So ends the interludes here. So we are now going to continue now to the rest of our story here, pretty much uninterrupted. And I don't know why he didn't let him drown. They're going to kill him some other way. So, these supervillains. And so, there's Spider-Man, and he could have just let him drown. And Spider-Man is chained up in these gigantic chains. And here comes Champion in his yacht. And of course, he is going to get out by breaking the chains, because of course he's Spider-Man. And Baxter is going to cheat, of course. And that's the whole that Spider-Man had seen. He's got like some kind of turbo charged engine thing here to cheat. And so Spider-Man is gonna get out here, and it's a pretty straight up story. But man, these chains are gigantic. And so Boomerang and Spider-Man, we're just gonna keep going here. There's really the story is pretty self done here, and this guy's like, "Yay, I'm gonna win," and sets up another pair of turbo jets there. Continuing with the fight here. Good storytelling by Buscema. Again, some people say Buscema, but only one E. So Spider-Man gets away, grabs the Boomerang with his web, and is going to send him over here to the other guy. And Spider-Man's hanging on to him. Everybody gets out, and the boat is gonna hit the yacht, and of course it explodes. and Spider-Man and Boomerang come down, and he grabs them, and he's like, "I can't believe you cost me the race, and if I by the time I'm finished, you're gonna owe me every dollar you make for the next 50 years." And he's like, "Oh my God, it's not fair. I deserved to win. I was the smartest. I had the fastest ship. I had the most money." And Spider-Man's like, "Give it a rest." And so, here comes the rescue, and next we got Inferno. So these issues are pretty straight up. It's one of the things during that era. Very straight up storytelling. Most of everything you get is just exposition. The story's pretty clear. So, Spectacular Spider-Man 144 and 145 by Gerry Conway and Sal Buscema. Like and subscribe, and I do thank you so much for listening. Goodbye.